Good morning, Deify here, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo, where, I'm not going to lie, I messed up a little bit after I finished recording the last episode, and I clicked to skip that first line of dialogue because I didn't realize that it would count clicks if the window wasn't in focus, so I need to be a little bit careful of that. So, I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure it was up on the screen at the end of the last video. You might just need to go read that yourself and not deal with my, charming voice. But I mean, to be fair, it's probably just we went to the cafeteria and started eating. The girls were talking and I was sitting there awkwardly because I don't know sign language. Something like that. After we finish eating, Misha picks up where we left off earlier. So, Hee-chan, you wanted to know about clubs and stuff, right? Right? Signing. Right, Shi-chan. Okay, I guess it makes sense to ask first. Exchanging little nods of confirmation, they turn to face me again, and Misha straightens her posture as if she is about to deliver a speech. 47 years ago. Hee-chan, do you have anything you're really interested in? I used to play soccer, but I'm not really into it. I don't follow the teams and players or anything like that. As of late, I usually just read a lot. There is a book club, right, Shi-chan? Right, but it seems like they have all the members they can possibly have right now. Sorry, Hee-chan, it's a really popular club. This seems a little... I didn't realize clubs could be at maximum capacity. Ah, okay, but more to the point, Hee-chan, does this mean that you don't have anything already in mind? Not really. Good. Great. That's great, Hee-chan. Really great. Oh my god, the maniacal laughter. Why is it so great? No reason. Well, Hee-chan, other than clubs and the upcoming festival, there is one other thing. Student council! I see. I didn't know this school had a student council. That was a very melodramatic setup, though, just to tell me that. I'm pretty sure the two of them know this, because Shizune looks a little embarrassed about it, and Misha is laughing. Shizune quickly retakes control of the discussion, in a manner of speaking. After all, it's still Misha who has to voice whatever she says. Right. Hee-chan, maybe you should join the student council. They could use more people. Yes, definitely. You should definitely join. Why? Well, for one, we can hang out every day, Hee-chan. Shi-chan and I are both in the student council. Well, actually, Shi-chan is the president. I'm starting to get the suspicion that Shizune and Misha might not exactly be the most unbiased people to talk about this with. As if reading my mind, Shizune quickly adjusts her glasses and signs something to Misha. Of course, we're not trying to get you to join, just because we would obviously benefit from you joining the student council and therefore have an incentive to try to get you to, so you're admitting that. No, we admit nothing. I mean, Hee-chan, of course it would be nice if you joined, and we'd appreciate it. But even without all that, joining the student council shows a healthy interest in the workings of one's school. Yup, it's true, Hee-chan. Besides, don't you want to spend time with us after school, Hee-chan? Can't tell. She's using like that marketing technique of like use their names. Like, oh, wow, Dustin, I'm glad to hear you had a great day. So, Dustin, tell me, do you have any plans for this weekend? You know, it was really nice to meet you, Dustin. It's like, okay, whoa, stop trying to psychology me here. It's a sales tactic. You use their name, they'll trust you more. Also, it's very good for giving very sincere thank yous. Unless you're like me and you're constantly worried that you forgot their name. Then it's nerve-wracking, to say the least. I can't tell if she's being genuine, or if this is just really good acting. Both of them seem to be trying hard to look their cutest. Although they're already pretty cute to begin with. Whew, I was worried we'd forget this was a dating sim at some point. Well... So it's settled then. Welcome to Student Council, Hee-chan. What? No! Aww. See, Shi-chan? Of course it wouldn't go so easily. She looks smug. She's prepared for this. Yup, that's right, though. It would be totally boring if it went that smoothly. Oh, well, Shi-chan owes me candy now. You were betting on it? Hey, my life's not a game here. Shizune seems very intrigued by this when Misha signs it to her. The aggressive glint returns to her eyes. Alright, it's a game now, I guess. That's interesting, Hee-chan. Let's play a game. That's not what I said. How about rich man, poor man, Hee-chan? If you lose, you have to join the student council. No, absolutely not. Aw, why not? So I don't actually remember I'm pretty sure I looked this up. But what is rich man, poor man game? Is that like Old Maid? Is that kind of what it was? That's an American television mini-series. That's not what I want. Let's look up the card game. Is it Old Maid? Various president? Oh, okay. Be the first to get rid of all your cards. Okay, so it's just one of those games, alright. I don't really know, I didn't really read the rules, but whatever, you can look it up yourself. Why not? Well, because you two both have the same incentive, and therefore the same goal, which is to get me to join the student council, right? Yup. Yeah, that isn't my goal, but what this means is that both of you can team up and I'll be at a clear disadvantage, so I'll have to decline. Hee-chan, I'm very offended. Are you saying you don't trust us, and that we would pull something disingenuous? That makes me sad. Sorry? It's hard to tell where Shizune's influence ends and Misha's thoughts begin. In order to atone for hurting a young girl's feelings, you should definitely join the student council. No! How about a game of paper football instead of rich man, poor man? Paper football? I love paper football. That's my pastime right there. Yeah, it's a game they play in America. You make a paper triangle, and then you try to shoot it past the goalpost that the other player makes with their fingers. Isn't it cool? It's the ultimate form of competition between two people, Hee-chan. And it's also played by elementary and middle school children, Shi-chan? That means it's a game that really separates the boys from the men. More like the boys from the slightly older boys. Anyway, I'm not going to play that either. Just the fact that you know about it means you're probably surprisingly good at it. Yeah, that's true. How'd you know, Hee-chan? Shizune frowns at Misha, telling me that she probably wasn't supposed to admit that so readily. I wouldn't say that I'm happy with their attempts to get me into the student council, but I'm a little curious about what the student council does here. I've never been on one before, or even known anybody who was a member, so it interests me. I also kinda like Shizune and Misha, so maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Okay, Hee-chan, how about Risk, the game of world domination? I don't know what that is. It's really fun, Hee-chan, you fight for control of the world with armies and everything. Sounds like Shizune would be good at it. If you want to play, we can after school. Aw, really, Shi-chan? We can just play for fun, Hee-chan. Shi-chan hasn't played in a long time, so if you want to, there are no strings attached. Well, okay. Okay, perfect. We'll see you after school in the student council room then, Hee-chan. Wait, why there? Because that's where we keep the game. Duh, gotta be able to get that. I grimace to tell them how much I do not like this, but it's more for show than anything. So in the end I agree, but only after getting Shizune to acknowledge that I don't mean anything concrete just by accepting to take a look around and play a game with her. Lunch ends and we go back to class. Surely we've got to meet... I saw her. Surely we gotta meet another character in this episode, right? Right? During afternoon classes, the long-haired girl comes back and sits down in her seat without a word. Again, no one seems to notice, or if they do, no one says anything. I want to ask Misha about it, but I don't want to be nosy. After school, Shizune and Misha quickly find me by the first floor lobby and latch onto me, covering each flank in case I might try to escape. I feel a little offended, but I'd been considering it. Nevertheless, I'm a bit disturbed that enough people have made a break for it in the past that they're on guard. What's with the escort? This doesn't make me feel very comfortable. In fact, it makes me feel like a dangerous prisoner being transported to his cell. What's wrong, Hee-chan? That's right, we're just going to play a game of Risk, remember? I don't know, Misha, this all seems a little sinister to me. I started thinking that when we sit down to play the game, they'll tie me down and torture me until I agree to join the student council. Well, That's highly unlikely, but still. For some reason, it just seems like it would be so plausible. Getting to the student council room is as simple as turning 2 corners from where we were. What? That's it? This makes you guys being so on top of me seem a little silly. Well, that's not true, Hee-chan. Shi-chan says that when their life is threatened, people have shown the capability to pull off superhuman bursts of speed. Life is threatened? Her expression unchanging, Misha signs something amusedly to Shizune, who makes a baffling face and puts her hands behind her back, looking pleased with herself. Misha feigns deafness and hums cheerily. Stop that. I know you heard me. You have no excuse, unlike Shizune. Shizune opens the door to the student council room. It's a very plain, sparsely decorated room, although it is quite large, maybe even a little larger than a classroom. There's a big table in the center surrounded by chairs, and a smaller desk prominently placed in the back that I assume is Shizune's. There are a few regular desks, and chairs stacked to one side as well. Extras, perhaps? Aside from the tables and chairs, the room doesn't have much else to offer. Just a couple of filing cabinets and bookshelves stacked with old-school records and documents. Not much else. In fact, nothing else. This is a pretty bleak room. They could at least put a potted plant in here or something, liven it up a little bit. Let's get some life in here. But the most noticeable thing that this room doesn't have is other people. Are we early? No? What do you mean, no? Does it mean nobody else is coming today? Yeah, that's right. Before I manage to ask why that's the case, Shizune claps her hands together very energetically. Hee-chan, let's play Risk. Come on, you promised, didn't you? You have to. Hahaha, okay. Do you want to know the rules? We can explain to you while we set everything up. While Misha is talking, Shizune takes out what looks like a board game from behind one of the filing cabinets and throws it on the table. Actually, this looks kind of interesting. Don't fall for it! It's gonna take 8 days! It will destroy friendships! After Misha spends a little too long for her liking running through the basics with a somewhat vague and confusing tutorial, Shizune cuts in and declares the game has started with a decisive motion, slicing her arm through the air. Hwah! We're going! Shizune's aggressiveness is rubbing off onto me. I start feeling more competitive than I intended to be when I agreed to this. Halfway into the game... yeah, right. While I try to ponder how to defend against Shizune's assault from 2 fronts, she breaks my concentration by drumming her fingers on the table to get my attention. Hee-chan, Shi-chan wants you to know that you are taking too long to make a move. Shi-chan also says that she will let you keep Australia if you'd agree to join the student council. I thought this was a game with no strings attached. Just the fact that she would dangle that over my head as an offer means that she knows I care about the outcome of this game. And anyway, no! Shi-chan admires your fighting spirit, and would be a benevolent dictator who will spare your people if you agree to join the student council. You're so competitive, Shizune. She seems to take this as a compliment. I would expect the student council president to be a little more magnanimous. Magnanimous? She doesn't seem to know what the word means or how it's signed, so she pulls out a piece of paper and writes it for Shizune, who in return signs it back to Misha. Honestly, I'm surprised. I don't know what magnanimous means. Is that like the opposite of unanimous? Not like equal, unbiased or something? I'm surprised that Shizune in high school would know the sign for that word. Misha presses her index fingers against her temples, as if trying to physically imprint the word into her memory. Suddenly, Shizune bursts into a flurry of gestures. Misha looks daunted by the pace of the heated signing. God, what's happening? Wait, please slow down, Shi-chan. Hee-chan, Shi-chan says you're going to lose. Tell her I will crush her world empire with my rebellion. Okay. Those eyes of hers shine with childlike mischief. She says you have no chance if you keep playing like this. No. She says you have no chance if you keep playing like this. No, you won't. Alright, well that sounds like a challenge. Can overwrite small talk, so let's be sure we do that. Okay, let's return. It's a trap. It's smarter to play defensively here, or she has a point. Attack aggressively. Ooh, or do I think she is, kind of double-crossing me? No. Let's go aggressive. It'll end the game quicker. She's either really mocking me, or trying to trick me. I have nothing else to lose, though, so I might as well try something different. Maybe if I spread out my forces and try to control more territories, I can recoup the advantage. Shizune seems to focus on conquering whole nations, so maybe I can sacrifice my hold on continents to gain more small countries. It's worth a shot. A few turns later, I end up losing the game anyway. Man, worked so hard on that. Shizune adjusts her glasses victoriously and allows herself to tentatively pump a fist in the air in celebration. Hoo-ah, yeah! I win! I win! Yay! There's no need to translate that. It was pretty clear. Don't look so sad, Hee-chan. You were really giving it your best. That's what I thought. Sometimes your best just isn't good enough, though. If anyone knows that, it's me. You did very well for someone who just learned how to play today. Oh, just noticed, if anyone knows that, it's me. Oh. That foreshadowing of a route that we're probably not even gonna play. Oof. That hurts. Hee-chan, you attacked Iceland and North America at the same time. That's a very daring move. Shi-chan is impressed. The mark of great people is that they are daring, and that they can follow through. You're already halfway there, isn't that great, Hee-chan? That isn't enough, though. Just potential isn't enough. There's no point to potential if you don't take the first step, and there's no point to that if you don't keep going. I want to see more. You're right, Shi-chan, but that's so demanding. Shizune leans forward, suddenly looking a lot less playful and more like the serious person I expected her to be from the start. Hello. Hee-chan, would you like to join the student council? She really doesn't waste any time, does she? But it's only my second day of school, so I'm hesitant about committing to something so early. I haven't even taken a look at any other clubs yet, but spending time with Shizune and Misha doesn't seem like something I would hate. I still need more time to think about it before I decide for sure. Maybe. I'll get back to you on it. Okay, Hee-chan, but I hope you're not just saying that so we don't feel bad. No, really. Really? Hee-chan, if you're going to say that, you're saying that it is definitely the truth and there can't be any mistaking it. I know. I guess I should have my revenge for losing at the very least. Shizune smiles at that in a mischievous, cat-like way, apparently. That's mischievous. I guess cats are mischievous. That feels like twisting the knife in the wound of my loss. I take a glance at the clock on the wall and realize I've spent far longer playing Risk than I expected. Yeah, I bet it's your 10th day at school, right? Sorry, I think I have to go. I wanted to go to the library. It's not closed yet, is it? Shizune scratches her head and gestures at Misha. How hard can it be to determine whether the library is open? There's a clock right there on the wall. It should be, unless the librarian is absent. I think you're right, Shi-chan. We think the library is open. It's on the second floor. Can't miss it. Do you want us to show you where it is? No thanks, it's okay. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye! Oh, Misha's such a sunspot. One flight of stairs up and I run into problems. The second floor hallway is a carbon copy of the third floor one. Wide, of course, and plain, like only hallways can be. The problem is that the library's whereabouts are not as easily determined as one would think. The classrooms are marked with signs stating which class they belong to, but then there's a plethora of other unmarked rooms. Is the library one of them? Or is it just somewhere down the hallway? I bet on the latter and choose my direction at random. After I turn around the corner, an unmarked door draws my attention because it's not closed. It's not open either, though, just barely ajar so that I can see it's open and nothing else. It would make sense for the library door to be invitingly open, and while this one is not quite that, it's good enough. At the very least, it means that someone is inside and I can ask for directions, no matter how embarrassing that is. I gingerly push on the center of the door with my fingertips, every muscle in my arm ready to pull back at a moment's notice. The feeling of being an outsider to this school can't be shaken from my mind, so much so that I instinctively fear doing something wrong by entering. The door, are we meeting who I think we are? Man, I didn't think we met this character for quite a while. I thought she was one of the last, if it is who I think it is. The door slowly creaks as if groaning from a deep sleep, though is much easier to open than I had anticipated. Leaning over and poking my head even further inside to gain sight of the room as fast as possible, the meek "hello?" escape on my lips is quickly snatched away. Oh my gosh. Oh, we are! Yay! This is not as I was expecting. I mindlessly let the door open to its full extent, taking in the sight of the solitary figure taking center stage in the otherwise abandoned room. The situation steals my voice, leaving me standing at the doorway staring at the beautiful girl. Evidently having taken her time to assess the situation, the girl gently puts down her teacup and opens her eyes, but doesn't look at me. Oh, hello there. May I help you? Staring directly in front of herself, the movements of her lips seem to break the silence rather than the words. However, it's the soft, measured voice that reminds me she's a being separate from the room itself. Not only is she likely the tallest girl I've ever laid eyes on, but even among the foreigners I've met, she's strikingly distinct. Hi. Sorry for intruding, I was just kind of lost. She takes a moment to formulate a response before speaking. Every action she takes feels as if it's carefully choreographed beforehand. Care to take a seat? Unexpected, considering that I'm intruding upon her. Thanks. I slowly step towards another seat opposite her, the girl resting the teacup and saucer on the wooden table in between. What teacup and saucer? There's nothing there! The way she doesn't track my movements with her head is telling. That, and the slight cloudiness to her eyes, means she must be at least partially blind, like Kenji. Come to think of it, her voice doesn't have any detectable accent either. I guess she must be half Japanese. As I take my seat, her composure takes me slightly off guard. Her air of relaxed confidence makes the silence entirely comfortable. The calming atmosphere is so very different from the student council office. I take it you're a new student to Yamaku? Yeah, I just transferred in yesterday. I get the distinct feeling my speech patterns don't match the formality of hers, accentuated by her restrained bow of greeting. One which I hasten to match before realizing the futility of the action. I'm Lily Sato. Pleased to meet you. Hisao Nakai. She gives a nod before gesturing roughly in the direction of her teacup. Would you care for a drink? Sure. As much as it pains me, I can't keep step with her formality in the proceedings. She gives a kind nod, taking the request in stride. Without another word, she steps off the chair and prepares a second cup of tea from a collection of supplies laid out along a shelf. A brush here, a brush there, her left hand often lightly touching the side of whichever container she's pouring into. It seems to be a process she's followed dozens of times before. As I lean sideways to see around her back, she seems to use her long, dainty finger to measure the right amount of water in the cup. It's one thing to see the different disabilities the students in my class have, but it's quite another to see how everyone seems to adapt. Shizune and Misha have no problem working together to communicate to me, and Lily herself seems to have workarounds for problems I'd never thought of. While I feel slightly guilty about her doing the work, she seems pleased to be following the correct process of the offerer preparing the drink. So, her soft voice brings me out of my silent observance. Which room were you looking for? It's not often this classroom is visited after school. The school library. Shizune and me... some classmates told me it was on this floor. She finishes pouring water into the teacups as she nods, a sharp metallic tapping coming from the teacup indicating it being stirred. I'm aware of Miss Hakamichi, as are most students. To be with them means you're in class 3-3, no? That's right, in the science room with Muto. She gives a small giggle before setting down the teaspoon and slowly walking towards the table, teacup and saucer in hand. He's quite a character. I imagine you'll come to like him. Most do. As she sets down the tea, I gently take it and have a sip. I'm really more of a coffee person, but this seems like a rather bad moment to bring it up. Nonetheless, the smell's quite nice. I hardly think it'd be hard to choke down. Thanks, Sato. It tastes really nice. She smiles and quickly waves her hand in front of her face. Gotta do that. Oh, Lily, please. There's no need to be too formal. She says this in spite of her exceedingly well-bred speech. Oh well. I guess I should try and ask her about herself, as it really does seem as if she's catering to me. So which class are you from? I imagine it's one of the third-year classes. Correct. I'm in class 3-2, which is on the third floor, same as yours. It's taught by Miyagi, and is specifically for both blind and partially blind students. I see. Sorry. I feel like slapping myself for the faux pas. Looking at her face, though, she doesn't seem the least bit put off by it. My, there's no need to change your speech on my account. Sure, sorry, I guess I'm really showing my newness here. An environment like this would be a big change, so I can't fault you for it. While the same can't be said for everyone, many have come to terms with their conditions. A category which would include her, it seems, all too ready to jump ship from this particular topic, I segue into another. Do you come here to drink tea often? It's a really nice place. Thinking on it, this might be her version of the place behind my school that I like to have lunch at. I come here fairly often during lunch times. My duties as class representative don't leave enough time for an official club, so a friend and I use this room for having tea. Class representative, huh? Compared to Shizune, her mannerisms seem to be almost completely opposite. While Shizune's blunt and fiercely driven, Lily seems relaxed and calm, almost aloof. Come to think of it, she might be useful for a less biased view of the school's clubs. What kind of clubs are there to join? The more popular ones are the track and field club, which uses the field near the school during lunchtimes, the baseball club, and the book club in a room near the library. There are also numerous small ones too, though, such as the art and music clubs. At a time when I'm just wanting to get on my feet, rushing into a club right away seems slightly unappealing. I wonder if this school shares the same rule as my old one. Is it compulsory to join a club? It isn't, though it is encouraged. Good, that's a relief. I've really let down my guard around this girl to let such a thing slip out. The fact seems to slightly amuse her. Not wanting my tea to get cold, I finally start drinking it, as Lily does the same. As I look over to the window over her shoulder, I notice the light coming into the room has a distinctly orange tint. Even here, time doesn't stand still. The time's gone quickly. Sorry? Right, she's blind. Of course she can't see the sun setting. It just looks like the sun's starting to set. It seems to come as a surprise to her. I guess she must have lost track of the time. Sorry, Hisao. I didn't mean to keep you from the library for so long. I quickly move to allay her concern. No, it's okay. The library's still open, isn't it? She pauses and takes a moment to think on it. It's probably something I should have asked Shizune when I had the chance, but Lily seems likely to know in any case. True. It's open until 6:30 during weekdays. A quick glance at my watch confirms that I have well enough time to get there. I might get going in that case. It's been nice talking with you, Lily. She smiles and gives a deep nod, her hands still neatly folded on the table in front of her. It was my pleasure. Oh, come to think of it, shall I show you to where the library is? I couldn't possibly ask for more help. I should be able to find it all right. Well, unless my navigational skills fail me. Mine do all the time, that's for sure. Oh, yeah, which they seem to have a habit of doing. Hey, there we go. It's alright. I was going to be talking to the librarian there in any case. I could introduce you. This gets better and better. It's pretty hard to deny her offer. If you're sure, then that'd be great. Thanks. As she stands up to follow me, she takes hold of a straight, retractable cane that had been slipped into the handle of her bag on the floor. Compared to the cane the boy in my class had, Lily's looks much thinner and longer. His must be for support, whereas Lily's is for navigation. So there are little things like that it's like, hey, not all canes are the same. Like, even small things like that really just like... They're not just people with disabilities. They are people with their own, like, specific... I mean, I don't want to make it sound bad, but it's like their own specific disabilities, like, that make them them. It's not just, oh, they're all disabled, they all belong here. It's everyone's here for a reason. Very subtle things in the writing like that, even though they're kind of obvious, and you'd be like, well, duh. Walking canes and, sightseeing canes, I don't really know what they're called, if they have a name, but it's like, you might think like, well, duh, they're a different thing, but it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, literally nothing is the same, even these two very similar things. I don't know, it's just small things like that. Kind of why I adore this game. Together we leave the peaceful room and enter the empty hallway on the way to the library. Side by side, my pace carefully slowed to match hers. We slowly walk through the hallway. Then there are sentences like this where it's like, do you really need slowed and slowly? Feel like a professional editor might have been like, yeah, don't do that. Like, we meandered through the hallway, although meander might be showing a little bit of aloofness that you don't want. Strolled, perhaps. Something like that. Plus, walk is just a pretty plain verb. There are always upgrades that you can make when you look at something with a very critical eye. Doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't take long for us to arrive at the door to the warm-looking room, apparently situated in the center of the floor rather than either wing. Ladies first. She gives an appreciative smile at the gesture, taking the lead as we file in. To the left is the wooden library counter, with the library proper being on the right. It easily dwarfs my old school's library, with the distinct smell of old books, giving the place an almost old-world air. There don't seem to be a lot of students here, considering the time. It isn't a big surprise. Everybody's probably either in the school grounds or the dorms. Yuko, are you here? She says it to thin air, since the librarian doesn't seem to be present, and of course Lily can't see this. What's unexpected is that it draws a reaction. Something from under the counter thuds against it, followed by a quiet wail. I love that. I always remember that scene. The Origin, apparently the librarian, quickly crawls out and bounces up to extremely rigid attention. Hi, Lily. How can I help you? Her voice is strained in a failing attempt to sound casual, and she's rubbing the back of her head. Good afternoon. What happened just now? I heard a strange sound. Oh, it's nothing. I just hit my head. See, I dropped an eraser under my desk, and while I was looking for it, a pencil dropped, and when I was looking for both of them, you came and surprised me. Are you alright? I'm sorry, I couldn't know. Oh, it's okay. Sorry for making you worry. This is nothing. I've had worse happen to me. She's quick to reverse Lily's apologies, almost frantically trying to push aside the possibility that she could be in any way convenienced by bashing her head on the counter. Yes, worse things have happened. The girl fidgets with her fingers as Lily doesn't seem to drop her concerned expression, and then she shuffles some papers around the counter for no reason. A little shorter than Lily, replete with glasses, I don't know what that word means, replete with glasses, freckles, and a very troubled look, she seems to fit a library perfectly. Lily, did you get my message? Message. Oh, the 2 imported books that arrived? Right, they finally came. I can't believe it took so long, but... Amidst her celebrations, partially for managing to change the topic, I'm sure, she notices me from the corner of her eye and freezes on the spot when she does. Oh no, I'm sorry for not noticing you before. Did you need to check out a book or return one? I'm sorry. The way she can so quickly shift between moods is a little unsettling. He's with me, Yuko. This is Hisao, a new student. Hisao, this is Yuko, the school librarian. I'm pleased to meet you. Hisao, right. Hisao. Pleased to meet you too. Hisao. For a second, she visibly attempts to engrave the name on her mind so she won't forget. Yuko often arranges to import foreign books in Braille for me. Would you like to tell Hisao a little something about the library? Lily's innocent suggestion is met with an expression of abject terror. We have a library? Please, Lily, I can't. I don't know what he could be interested in. This is too much responsibility. How it's any responsibility at all, I don't get. But her objection is so sincere that I don't doubt for a second that she would rather disembowel herself on the spot than tell me where the light novels are. But, so there are a lot of books in Braille here? I attempt to save the day by asking the first thing that pops into my head. It seems to work at least partially, as Yuko seems to not exactly relax, but at least look slightly tense. Or slightly less tense. There we go. Well, I think about a third or a fourth of Yamaku's library is either in Braille or audio. Makes sense, given all the blind students that'd be here. If it's only that, how come this library is so big in the first place? Well, we get a lot of new books regularly because the library is adequately endowed. That's probably why. They spend more on new books than on my salary, and then I have to organize and shelve all of them. It's so troublesome and they weigh so much. I wish I could quit this job. A very awkward silence follows this revelation of too much information. I'll go check the aisles then, if you don't mind. It's probably best for all of us if she doesn't keep talking to me. Very well. Meanwhile, Yuko, I would have those books if it's alright with you. Alright, Lily gets her books, and I think we're going to leave this episode here. We did, in fact, meet one new character. Forgot how long this game was. Man, I honestly thought I'd be in Act 2 by now. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was gonna be like 2 in Act 1, but there's a lot of detail here, and it's very refreshing compared to other visual novels that kind of just scoot you through everything. Like, in this one, the plot's always moving forward via characterization, not necessarily sheer plot points, but it feels like nothing's really dead. Might be a little slow for your liking, but it's not dead time, and I like that. But it is catching me off guard, because definitely in my memory, I have all the big plot points where I'm like, this is what I'm going to be dealing with next, and then like 2 episodes, it hasn't happened. I'm like, what? This is supposed to happen. I don't know how to segue out of that. I'm supposed to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time on Katawa Shoujo. Goodbye.